As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of the internet, also known as ARPANET, created by We the People. We the people, not we the billionaires. We the people. Got a lot to speak about today. Today, of course, is Aquino Day. So we are going to have a great time. He has a very important town hall to talk about among the many other things he speaks about. But before we get any further, let's go to Los Genios, the geniuses in the studio. How are you doing, my dear brothers?
Oh, those heinous geniuses. They're everywhere. Good morning, Egberto. It is Thursday, the 27th of February, 2025, and I am Howard Reynolds, and this is Jack Van Beber over here.
I'm here.
To my left, and we're ready for a good show because we're not going to hijack your show today. We'll also be checking in with Elise Bench here just in a few minutes. She is hanging on. Hopefully her tin cans and string have held up. Jack, what you got, man?
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Good morning, Jack. How are you doing, my dear brother?
All right. Trump lies again.
No. It's not even possible.
This time about providing more money than the EU to Ukraine. And French President Emmanuel Macron called this out to Trump's face. I would hope that the Democratic leaders would take a lesson from the French President Macron. Mexico is standing up to Trump. Canada is standing up to Trump. Democrats need to stand up to the Trump administration in real time and call out every lie and correct every narrative and reassure seniors the right ain't getting their Social Security. Reassure workers that their unions are here to stay. Please, Democrats, get in the ring, throw a few punches, and take a few punches. Don't let this administration harm the people.
You know what's wrong? Well, besides the whole list of things, I think that the Congress is scared of Doge because the president will turn Doge onto them. And, well, first of all, that's,
he can't fire everybody,
can he? He can try. But the fact of the matter is he's going to start making up, oh, we found this and we found that and we found this. And people are believing this guy. He is a huge liar. So we got liar in chief? We got liar of Doge? Where's the truth in things? Where? I think it's right here at KPFT because we always tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. So, it's one of those things where you got to keep free speech radio alive. And that's what we're doing during our pitch drive here, or pledge drive. And we're going to check in and see if Elise is with us on her tin cans and string. Elise, are you there?
They are working so well today.
Oh, yay.
Yay, Elise Bench. How you doing, Elise?
Good morning. Thank you, Egberto. How are you this morning?
I am doing fine, but I messed up the introduction because when I said I'm passing it on to the brothers, I should have said this time I'm passing it on to the brothers and the sister. That's what we should have said. But anyway, corrected.
Yeah, I've only been here, I'm bouncing around a little bit. So, I was with you on Tuesday. Sandy's been coming in. So we all want to take advantage of an opportunity to work with you and also to make sure that when we do talk about KPFT, we're mentioning how you're connecting the listeners, Egberto, to information and to details, and you're drilling down into the real stories that we need to be talking about each and every morning. And that's something that is worth supporting. It's something that we provide here at KPFT. And if it's something that you wake up to each and every weekday, you listen to Egberto, do your part if you can and become a member, become a sustaining member of KPFT. Choose a $5 or $10 a month level, whatever suits your needs. Put it on a credit card. It'll come out every single month and it'll let KPFT know that you're here for Politics Done Right. You're here for Egberto and crew each and every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 days a week at 6 a.m. They're here for you. 713-526-5738, option 1, or go to kpft.org. When you get this news and information, it's something that is valuable to you, and it provides you with viewpoints and other viewpoints. And that's one of the great things about this show, Egberto. You open the lines up, you open the airwaves up, and you're receptive to hearing what others have to say, and you do it in such a nice, respectful way. It makes it such a nice experience for the listener. So once again, thank you for what you do. I'm going to give it back over to you so you can start the show, and thank you for having me as a part of it.
Thank you so kindly, Elise, for being here, for getting up in the morning and helping us out here to try to raise some fun. You're an angel, so thank you so kindly. Look, today is Aquino Day, of course. It's Thursday, and he always brings us a whole lot of good stuff. But I'm going to ask Brother Aquino a favor to introduce himself and his and what he does. But I want to touch on what before we get started with Aquino. I want to touch on what Brother Van Beber had to say. But let me go ahead and throw it to Aquino first. My brother Neil.
Great. Hello, local and global audience, studio, Egberto, and I'm Neil Aquino, Houston Democracy Project. Go to the Houston Democracy Project blog, HoustonDemocracyProject.com. And if you have a question about local politics this morning, ask it. Remember, folks, authoritarianism will require a local infrastructure. It's going to take local officials to implement Musk, Trump, and we can fight it right here at home.
Thank you so kindly, Neil. Let me say, folks, I wanted to start here with the lies that Van Beber was talking about. Yesterday, I watch a news conference, so you don't have to watch it, okay? And
I skipped that one.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. I had to watch the whole thing though, and it hurt me because we have right-wing callers that call in here, and a lot of you, the progressive side of our listenership, usually sits and listen to a lot of our right-wing brothers and sisters and get upset. And I sit down and I kind of ponder. You try to find out how you can bring people together, how you can communicate. And listening to Trump's conference yesterday points out exactly why some of our people are the way and misled the way they are. And we have to put some of that responsibility on our media, the fourth estate. Because as Trump and Musk lied qualifiably, verifiably yesterday in that news conference, they just allowed that over the airwaves. If you hear what I try to do, and by the way, many of you have helped me do that, because I don't want to throw folks off the line when they call in, etc. But at the same time, I don't want us to use the public airwaves, and these are the public airwaves, to promote lying information that are verifiable lies. I'm not talking about opinions. I'm not talking about disagreements. There are a lot of people that disagree with me that I don't, we just have different points of view. But there are also things called lies, and there are lies that are also dangerous. That's why people up in North Texas are dying of measles, because of lies from our now the person who leads our health department. Okay? Now, these reporters asked questions, were told verifiable lies, and then did not follow up, did not challenge, did none of the others. So for the tacit listener who sits down and listens to the program and doesn't go later on to, let's say, CNN.com or anywhere where CNN.com is going to go fact check all of these. And by the way, these lies that Donald Trump told at the news conference are lies that he tells every day. So no further fact checking by any reputable journalist was needed. They could have challenged Donald Trump immediately when he made those statements, so that our MAGA brothers and sisters could see in real time that they're being lied to. One of the lies was, we are not going to cut Medicaid. Donald Trump chose, the Senate has a bill The House has a bill. Of course, all monetary spending bills have to originate from the House, but they do some machinations so that the Senate can come up with one and the House can come up with one. The Senate bill did not cut Medicaid. It did not touch anything about trying to cut. It was just defense. It was just about immigration, etc. The House bill was about cutting Medicaid and cutting other of your programs. Donald Trump said, I am not going to cut Medicaid. Even at the conference in Florida, that he's not going to do it. Nobody said, Brother President, you told Congress, I want the House plan. The House plan cuts Medicaid. Another lie, he went ahead and he stated, the United States gave more to Ukraine than the European Union did. False, verifiably false. Nobody challenged it. He talked about Obama giving sheets to Ukraine. Not true. He spoke about nobody ever charged tariffs to China till he came along, and China is paying for the tariffs. It is a verifiable fact that the American people, whenever they collect the billions of dollars for tariffs, it's you, the American people, not China, not Canada, not Mexico. None of these guys are paying the tariffs. You are. And because you are the ones who buy products, you are taking the extent of the bill in order to reduce what they collect in federal taxes from wealthy people. You pay. It's a invisible way to charge you a tax, not the other people. That's what tariffs are. So he lied and he lied. He talked about under the Trump administration there was no inflation. The average inflation rate under Trump was about 1.4, a total of 8% over his administration. I mean, there's so many things that he said that should have been pushed back because it gives ammunition to those on the right to support the attacks that he's going to have on the middle class by the time that budget comes out. Folks, if you want to know why support for the places like KPFT is needed, these are what I'm talking about, because it's a lot of our brothers and sisters on the right side. That's all they do. They watch news conference and they're gone. They're not doing any other thing. Then, of course, they'll listen to a radio show like KPFT in order to be antagonistic and say, given what they've heard on the speech. We are needed more than ever. So I want to ask you before I jump to Neil to please, respectfully, give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1, to donate whatever you can. Or go to kpft.org, select the donate button, scroll to the Politics Done Right to show that that's a show you're contributing to. And by the way, all of that goes to KPFT. And then give whatever you can. We are asking those who have the wherewithal to do so to please consider $5 a month or $10 a month or $15 a month, $20 a month, whatever you can. I am currently given $10 a month, and one of the reasons, like I said, I disperse around the progressive little amounts around the progressive move, different progressive organizations, because we have to be self-funded. Those institutions that are being truthful to us, those institutions that are doing well by us, and if we don't fund it, we don't have the billionaires to fund it. The billionaires are funding the right. The billionaires are funding your demise. We need the funding to mitigate that. And I'm not being hyperbolic here, folks. If you take a look, and Richard Wolfwood explains this well, if you take a look of what has happened to the poor and middle class since the inception of supply side economics sanctioned by the billionaire class, we have been on the decline since. It is quantifiable. You can see it in the charts. And the only way for us to recover that is for us to educate ourselves and not fall for what's occurring here in America today. So I ask one more time before I jump to Neil, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Give whatever you can. Or go to kpft.org and click that donate button, scroll down to Politics Done Right, and give whatever you can. Neil Aquino, my dear brother, talk to me.
Oh boy. So I this past week, a couple days ago, I attended a telephone town hall of our congresswoman, local Democrat Lizzie Fletcher. And if you go to the Houston Democracy Project blog, I also attended town halls by Congressmen Al Green and Wesley Hunt. And let me tell you, in recent days, and by going to Wesley Hunt's town hall, I took one for the team. Okay, I took one for the team. Although his had food, so I encourage them all to have food. Lizzie Fletcher, she represents portions of Houston, Harris County, and Fort Bend. She was redistricted in the last, beginning with the 2022 election, so she may be, see if she's your congresswoman. And she held a telephone town hall, and I just want to report a little bit about it, and then at the end, I'll get to what I'm saying here. So, staffer from the call said that as of 7:10, it began at 7 in the evening. They had 1,300 people on that call.
Wow.
She said, Ms. Fletcher, that they had 550 questions as of the day before, and she had read them all. And I'm going to comment on that. I believe that. She said she'd address in the call what's going on, to use her words, Congress, courts, and communities. Okay. So she acknowledged, that stuff needs to be going on outside of the official processes of courts and Congress. She said she's a member of a rapid response task force that also tracks litigation. And that's right. And so Hakeem Jeffries, in a couple of depressing interviews he's done over the last few days, has referenced that task force. He should, but from him at least, it comes from, he just wants you to handle it in official channels and really doesn't want you to act. He's making that clear. And call his offices. You can call his office in Washington or his 2 offices in Brooklyn and say that you want more. Okay, the first credible primary challenger to Hakeem Jeffries, I'm going to assist them. The first called in question was a woman who said she had a partner at a clinical trial at MD Anderson that was operating currently only because of a court order. The congresswoman said she'd written a strongly worded letter, that's a quote, about the cuts. And she must be getting a lot of calls for action because she made a defensive sounding comment saying she knows people might think that such a letter is not enough. She said something I think that is useful, that it's important that people share real life stories from what's going on. She basically said, she said people are, quote, siloed. What she was saying is, they're just watching Fox News, which is just what Egberto was talking about. But it is important. Don't give up telling those stories. Linda C. called and asked, quote, how the heck does Elon Musk get in every level of government? And Representative Fletcher's reply was, because Trump lets him. The congresswoman had an exasperated tone during all this, not at the callers. She was respectful to the callers. None of this is really a criticism of Representative Fletcher. I would, but I didn't see over reason to criticize her. She said, and I quote, okay, this is a criticism. A lot of people expected more guardrails for Elon Musk. Okay. And that's really the one point I was sitting at home and thinking, well, I don't know about that. So at the last question was from Cheryl. And Cheryl said, since the Supreme Court has given Donald Trump immunity, how can we rely on the courts? And there was no firm reply to that, because what can you say? What can you say? My view is that the most likely answer will be a massive protest, a general strike, or whatever. I think later in the show, we'll get to the February 28th economic boycott. That's tomorrow. Ms. Fletcher said it was different being in Congress from when she was a lawyer, because you don't have to adhere to any standards of evidence or truth. in Congress. So I'm just going to read my last paragraph of my impression of this thing. Representative Fletcher is trying hard, and I believed her assertions. Her office listens to callers and reads the emails. She's an institutionalist, and the institutions are being trashed. The failure to follow any real process or procedure throws her for a loop. She's no firm sense of how to proceed other than to show up every day and try. I believe that's true. Just like all of us. I just hope when we reach the point where it's clear that we'll all need to be on the streets, that Representative Fletcher will be on the right side of the police line or whatever it is the moment will require. So she just did not know how to proceed. She's worried, she's concerned, she's exasperated, and her traditional ways of operating don't work. They trample over procedure, they ignore courts, they lie, and she just did not have. When I went to the Al Green press address, Congressman Al Green, he said we should protest, which I appreciated. That's probably not in Representative Fletcher's temperament to tell you that. Just be ready and ask your elected officials. Look, let me tell you, folks, if we can canvass, for votes with the heat and the stray dogs, if we can protest and assume the physical risks of protesting in this environment, they can assume the risks of this environment too. Tell your elected officials, your elected Democrats, that they signed up for this, and wherever it heads, that's where you need to go.
Neil, I can tell you how grateful I am, first of all, for you going to those different town halls. I was supposed to go to that one at this racetrack with you, but
oh boy.
But again, the amount of work that I had going on at the time,
Yep.
I really couldn't make it. But here's the deal. I am going to be a bit more. I won't be as kind as you are with our politicians. I think they went there to represent us, and represent us means exactly that. Represent us. They went there to be our leaders, and that is what they should do. They should lead. They should be there telling us, well, this is not happening, and I cannot do it following the rules within the within the House or within the Senate. But the one thing I can do is I can come to my district, mobilize my district, unite my district, and put up a front against something that is unconstitutional that is occurring right now in the United States. She can do that. Al Green can do that, which is what Al Green is suggesting, and every single congressperson. But the problem is too many of these folks are too darn comfortable in their surroundings. There is no reason. This is the time, while we don't yet have martial law, that they can actually act. This is a time that they can actually act using all the constitutional levers, free speech, the right to assemble, all of those constitutional rights can be used right now. And you're so right about Hakeem Jeffries. I was so disappointed in the interview that he gave to Rachel Maddow. It sounded very, very wimpy. Donald Trump, the reason people love Donald Trump, those who love Donald Trump, is Donald Trump comes across like somebody who's going to give somebody a punch to defend you. He didn't come across like somebody who is going to defend the rights of folks who need one to defend them.
Well, let me tell you, I agree with you. So I really thought hard about this post, and I decided to take it on her terms because people need to get there, and I know they needed to have been there years ago. But even on our side of the aisle, just talking about rank and file folks, it still remains a journey to where it needs to go. They are still on that journey. I believe we'll get there. We are going to end up on the streets. I think I mentioned last week that my state representative, Ann Johnson, made a 2-minute video acknowledging what's going on in Washington. And she's on a journey. I called her office and thanked her. And I said, I like that. And then when it's time, you need to be on the right side of the police line. My state senator, Molly Cook, I have called her office twice, and she has not yet publicly addressed with a video or a comment or what's going on. She's on our health committee, the Senate Health Committee. I hope she'll be addressing the measles outbreak as part of her work. So call your local officials and call your 10 city council or email your 10 city council Democrats, Houston City Council Democrats, or your Pasadena or Katy or Galena, wherever you are, and tell them that this is coming and you're going to need to see them wherever it needs to go.
Well, Senator Molly Cook, which is one of the young, vibrant senators out there that just got elected in a very difficult race. She's a nurse. She's a registered nurse, so she knows about healthcare. I think more than ever, she needs to be speaking up about and using the measles epidemic in Texas as the template to what happens when you have right-wing governorship. I'm going to go to Elise Bench in a little bit, but I want to salute those folks in the chat right now. I want to salute Eve Hill. Welcome aboard. Call them out immediately, no fear, and get brutal, according to Eve Hill. Lee the Bearcat is in the house from Austin, Texas. We also have Eric Hayes in the house from Kingwood, Texas. I Golf Twitler. I love that. I Golf Twitler is in the house. We also have in the house Loretta Brock. Welcome aboard, Loretta Brock. Thank you so kindly for being here. Glenn Ryan is in the house. Glenn Ryan, I think I saw the the coffee with Egberto yesterday in our charts. I think you did it yesterday. Let me know if that is the case or not.
Great.
Let me tell you, breakfast with Egberto, $250. And look, all of that, it doesn't come to me, folks. It's all for KPFT. Gimmicks to get money for KPFT so we can continue bringing you this stuff. Thank you so kindly, Glenn Ryan. Eric is in the house as well. Let's go to the real voice here. And we all like to hear that voice. Elise Bench, come on in.
Good morning, Egberto. Just really enjoying the conversation this morning. Thank you to yourself and Howard, Jack, and also Neil from the Houston Democracy Project, giving us a great report and breakdown on the Lizzie Fletcher Town Hall. This is information you will not find anywhere else. If you're listening in Houston, thank you for finding KPFT and Politics Done Right. If you're listening online and you're streaming, thank you so much for doing that. That's a service we can't provide without your support. We do not take commercial breaks on KPFT. You won't find corporate sponsors. There's no money exchanged for a specific agenda or idea. What you're hearing are real people giving you real information that you can count on and trust. We've been doing this for 55 years. Egberto was talking about the fourth estate being under attack. It is no hyperbole. That is happening right now in real time. So what's going to happen? Where can you go for news and information that you can trust? You can make KPFT a resource that everyone can count on. And you can do that with your donation of support during our winter funds drive, 713-526-5738, kpft.org. Those are two ways that you have a measure of control in today's really unstable world that will help to provide and continue to provide this thoughtful and respectful and factual information and exchange of ideas and perspectives that we get to enjoy each and every day, courtesy of everyone who has stepped up in the past to donate to keep KPFT on the air. We've been doing this for 55 years. It's not easy, but it's something that we believe in. And if you believe in what you're hearing and you believe that this is important discourse to be able to have in the public, on the public airwaves, donate to free speech at 713-526-5738, kpft.org. Back to you guys at Politics Done Right. Thank you, Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Elise. Folks, Politics Done Right is still at the big donut, meaning still at the big zero. I want to ask kindly again, please go ahead and call, as Elise mentioned, 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org. Hit that donate button, select that Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting, and give whatever you can. Can you do $5 a month? Can you do $10 a month to make sure that we continue to give you this kind of info, truthful, timely, $15 a month, whatever you can. Do you want to have coffee with Egberto where you can talk about whatever? We can talk whatever you want to talk about. You can give whatever advice you want to give. That's who we are. 7-1. And look, if you want, Neil has promised. He said, Egberto, when you go to lunch, if folks want me along too, I will be there too, right, Neil?
That's the truth. Yes.
That's the truth. Neil will be there too if you want Neil along as well. So 250 contribution to KPFT via Politics Done Right. You have a coffee with Egberto, and of course there's $100 T-shirt, the Politics Done Right T-shirt. Anyhow, I want to jump to the wait before I jump to the phone, Neil. Hey, I know Cal, Tag, and Bruce have been there, but I want to get some of these things out. Neil, you want to talk about the big day tomorrow? Tell us a little bit about that.
So, okay. So tomorrow, is this, you may have heard about it, an economic boycott or blackout. Tomorrow, Friday, February 28th, and I'm going to take part. So I looked up who started this. It's something called the People's Union USA. I don't know what that is. So if you go to thepeoplesunion.usa.com, it's there if you want to look it up. Who know, they're saying they're a grassroots movement dedicated to economic resistance, blah, blah, blah. So you can look it up and see what you think. But to me, this is basically, I think, been sent on word of mouth. People have seen it on social media. Don't buy anything tomorrow, or if you do, buy something from a small business or a local business that you trust. But otherwise don't. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hope it has an impact. We'll see. We'll see. But mainly I'm doing it in part because I think we need to practice solidarity.
There you go.
We need to, whether it's a mass protest, whether it's a economic boycott, whatever the act is, and they are so repressive. We really need to test and try every theory because, yes, we're going to need to be on the street. I encourage people when that martial law is declared or when a court is defied, we need 10, 15, 20 million people more on the street. Don't be afraid of that. It's also true these people are repressive as could be, and we need to have every tool. And so if economic boycott today leads to a general strike in 3 months, let's have it. So I'm going to participate. I encourage others to do so. If people say, well, it's just one day or whatever, say, look, we got to practice solidarity. We have to find different ways to push back. So that's why I'm participating tomorrow.
Thank you for that, Neil. And we have to remember, folks, democracy. Look, if South Korea could do it, South Korea nipped a dictator in the butt as soon as it was happening. They didn't get it. They didn't give it a chance to what is that word? To spread. They went ahead and caught it right away. It is incumbent that the American citizenry, the ones who claim to be not the birth of democracy, but the bastion of democracy, we have to catch it before it gets out of hand. South Korea did it. We can too. Welcome aboard as well, my brother Ray, in the chat. Let's go to Cal. Come on in, Cal.
Hello, Mr. Egberto.
Good morning, Cal. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I am doing very well. Now you communicate with me for a minute?
Go give me 30 seconds, okay?
There you go.
Yes, sir. I have a competition. Mainly, I have two competitions near that I will participate in. I have a business plan competition, and I will also be in a competition of a run of 3.1 miles.
All right, there you go, Kyle. Well, Kyle, I tell you what, when you're done running that 3.1 miles, I want you to call into our show so that we can give you the Politics Done Right clap. All right?
Yes.
All right. We'll talk later, Kyle. You have a wonderful rest of your day, my brother.
Boy, I wonder if that made me think if I've run 3.1 miles in my whole life. I walked a lot. My first thought was I started thinking about gym class in school. I wonder if I want to that much in my entire life.
All right.
So do it. Go.
Do it, Kyle. You
Right.
have your posse here behind you, brother Kyle. All right, let's go to Tag. Tag, you're
Hi,
on.
Egberto.
How you doing, my brother?
Yeah,
Talk to me.
good. Two things this morning. One is the last time that the American people got a president to step down. I think it's a very important issue to think about a minute. But the other one I wanted to mention is Elise Bench. Elise Bench, I think, is doing a great job. She took a pledge yesterday from me and paid me a very nice compliment. And I like hearing her voice on the air. I think she's doing a wonderful job. And also, Friday, she's going to do a music show. So I think Elise Bench is one that we should take notice of. So, and you probably feel the same way.
I mean, I love Elise Bench's voice. We have two women at KPFT that go on air that when they speak, it just soothes you, and she's one of them. It just soothes you, and
she's very concise and clear about what she's saying, and I think it's important today that we get the message across. So
absolutely.
And she likes me. She likes me calling your show. She likes what I have to say. So I really appreciated that compliment. Here's the thing I really wanted to say this morning, and people need to keep this in mind. Egberto, do you know the last president to step down from office?
Was that Nixon?
You're right. And do you know how we got him to step down?
The people from the Republican Party finally said we can't support you anymore. It's time for you to go. You will lose our support.
His peers in Congress put the heat on him, but that's not really the real reason he stepped down. The real reason he stepped down is because he got so much mail at the White House. The mailbox bags were filled. They had to send truckloads of mail to the White House every day, and he could see that there were so many people that were so upset with him that and then of course his peers got on him. But it was you and me, the 70, 80,000 or 80 million people sent mail to the White House. And that's really what got him to step aside. So I think we need to think about that when we're trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do about this guy in the White House right now. So
Tag, I didn't know that, but that I didn't know that, but that's great info for the day, because what that means is people power can have an effect. So thank you for doing that, and maybe I need to modify my narrative. I always say that we have the best damn callers in the world. Thank you, brother.
We can go right around the right wing. We can go right around the House
Right.
and the Senate. We can go right around these people and go direct to the White House to get this message across that we do not want you there. So thanks, Egberto.
Thank you, brother. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Let's go to Brother Bruce.
Good morning, Egberto.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I have 2 points to make, but first I want to say I'm a pensioner, a senior on a tight budget, but I'm coming out to Cactus Records and Tapes Saturday and give my $100. I'd like to have some other people come out and give what they can and visit with me. I'd like to talk to you. Now I'm going to make my points. RFK Jr. said that the measles outbreak in West Texas was normal and it's usual and happens every year. I've been following current events for a long time. I'm a senior. And every once in a while you have a small outbreak, usually in a religious cult up in Oregon and Washington somewhere that doesn't believe in vaccinations, but not every year, not 124 in one little area. No, that's baloney. The other thing I want to bring up is I saw on MSNBC that the annual meeting to decide which flu was going to be prevalent to make the vaccine is canceled. Now, I don't know if it's postponed or canceled because of budgets. Now, being a senior with pre-existing conditions and having a sister 76 years old with pre-existing conditions, this concerns me greatly. If they don't have a reliable flu shot this next autumn, I'm not going to quit going to Walgreens to pick my prescriptions up. I'm not going to quit going to the grocery store or the gym. So it means I'm going to have to mask up and buy all kinds of hand sanitizer and maybe gloves. And that's just baloney. They say that every family has one weird person in it, and I've always thought that's just, baloney, a myth. But RFK Jr. definitely fits the mold. I think the doctor, when he was a kid, should have given him an anti-stupid vaccine. That's all I got. That's all I
Look,
got,
Bruce.
Alberto.
Bruce, thank you, and I think you brought up an important thing today that folks need to listen. If we've got the government that doesn't have our well-being at hand, it now is imperative that as individuals, as collectives, we first of all protect each other and protect ourselves. And what you talk about masking up going forward is absolutely and so right, brother. And listen to what Bruce has to say. We have to be informed, and we will use this platform here with great callers like Bruce, who reminds us to point out certain things. Because Neil and I were talking about that postponement today, but I'm glad you brought it up because you forced us to put it on air, something we were talking about in the background. Neil, you want to say something?
NBC News says, NBC News report yesterday, so far 86 children and 19,000 adults have died this season. Meeting convened each spring, and in response to the caller, are they postponing it? It just says here, the relevant official offered no explanation for the scrap meeting. That's all there is.
Thank you, man. Let's thank you, Bruce. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Let's go. Yes, sir. Oops. Hey, sorry we cut you in the middle of what you were saying. You can call back, and I'll put you in the front of the queue. Patrick, come on in. Brother Patrick.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Good morning.
Oh, hold on, Patrick. Hold on, Patrick. I want to thank you so kindly, Nelson, and thank you so kindly, Joe. Muchísimas gracias. We are still about $350 away from our $325 away from our minimum goal. Yesterday we recovered at the end. I hope you guys will make us whole today as well. By calling 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or going to kpft.org, hit the donate button, select Politics Done Right, and give whatever you can. Thank you so kindly, my brothers and sisters listening. All right, Patrick, come on in, sir.
Hey, good morning. I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to tell you that you might not be getting credit for some of these donations. For the first time, when I called in yesterday, they usually ask, like if I'm listening on a radio phone, things like that. They didn't ask that. They didn't ask what show it was for. They didn't ask really anything. They confirmed my address, my name, and that was the end of the phone call. So you might let management know that that's going on. I increased enough to get a T-shirt from you, so you owe me a T-shirt.
Oh, man, I appreciate that because I didn't see. I got the list yesterday, and your name wasn't on it. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and be sure to look for that, my brother. I appreciate that so kindly.
It's worth it. Now, for Bruce, I appreciate him pointing out that that we do have measles outbreaks, but they are easily contributed to people that trust authorities, and the authority that they're trusting isn't being honest with them. It does usually, you can usually trace them back to congregations, but now it's going to be everybody. And now we're listening to RFK instead of small churches, so it makes things even more dangerous. And I wanted to touch on, I've fired off easily at least 20 or 30 letters, and I've signed over 100 petitions probably in the last month, and I've gotten only one letter back from Cornyn, and it was over Russell's vote, and it was so late coming back, it was almost like a slap in the face. These guys are either overwhelmed or they're just not interested in doing their job. I haven't gotten anything from Cruz. I haven't gotten anything back from the president. They're just ignoring us. It's derelict of duty. We need to remember this. What we'll be voting on this in about 18 months. These guys have got to go.
Look,
and then
Patrick.
I want to point out.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, Patrick.
Go ahead. I was going to say too. I'm starting to ask people what I've noticed, and it took me kind of an embarrassing amount of time to notice, but they keep referring to waste when they're saying they found waste, they're cutting waste. They want us to think fraud and waste, but the only thing that they're saying is waste. And I believe that they're using the term waste because that's ambiguous. And I've asked some people to define what they think is waste, because to Musk, the FAA is a waste because he has this private airliner. Medicaid, Medicare is waste to him because he has a small emergency room on call all the time. What's a waste to these people is necessary to us. And they're saying waste because they're trying to escape liability, I believe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Patrick. I need to run back to Elise for a while, and then I'll get to Betty, Augie, and Brian. Thank you very much, Patrick, for your call and your wisdom. I see you at 3.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and pass it to the voice, Elise Bench.
Hey, good morning. Thanks you. This has been a great conversation. I don't want to get in the way of, I know we've got Betty on the phone and some other folks waiting. We want to get to them. Thank you, Bruce, for giving us a call. He's coming to Cactus Music in Houston on Saturday. Tag would be there if he could, I'm sure. He's in Michigan, though, so I know he can't make it. Patrick, thank you for your call this morning. It's great to hear all of these voices contributing to this conversation on KPFT, and we couldn't do it without you. We need your voice. We also need your support. You're listening to Politics Done Right on 90.1 FM KPFT Houston. And if you get something out of this conversation each and every day, now is the time for us to hear from you, whether you're calling us to express your opinion or you want to become a member of KPFT because you believe in what you're hearing. You may not believe in everything we're saying. You may hold a different opinion, and that's wonderful. That's because you're able to give us a call and let us know what you think. And without that resource, without us being able to hold the airwaves open for that space to allow this to happen, the fourth wall really doesn't exist. And so if this is something that is important to you, the best way, honestly, to support tomorrow's economic blackout that we've been talking about is to support free speech media and radio and KPFT. And you can really sock it to them by helping us sock away enough money to keep this station commercial free and ready to take on all of the issues in politics and talk that are going on today and tomorrow. The landscape is really changing quickly. It's vital. We don't look away. We must stay engaged and supporting free speech radio right now at 713-526-5738 or kpft.org goes a long way. Can you do that for us today? Can you support this radio station if you're able to do it on a monthly sustaining basis, whether that be $5 a month, $10 a month? It adds up for KPFT with no commercial underwriting, with no corporate sponsorships. We're beholden to no one. And that's a feeling of freedom that doesn't exist anywhere anymore. You can be a part of something special right now. Thank you for finding this radio station. Thank you for finding this show. This show, Politics Done Right, is done by a volunteer staff of dedicated supporters who believe in the mission of KPFT. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us at 713-526-5738, kpft.org. Back to you.
Thank you so kindly, Elise. Before we go to Betty, I want to remind folks that, yes, it is true that the next major election is in 2026, but I want to remind you that there are very important elections that can decide the fate of Virginia this year in November. So we need to keep our eyes on that. They're electing a new governor, an entire new assembly, etc. That could tell us if America is waking up or not. That's a good bellwether to look for in Virginia. So give whatever help you can to Virginia. I'd like to also inform you of 3. Right now, the House, the difference is 3 seats. If we get 3 more seats, then this House will flip. And let me tell you a little dirty secret. There are 2 seats in Florida and 1 seat in New York that are up for grabs right now. And while they are decidedly in red districts because of the state of the current system and what's happening with Medicare and otherwise, those are pickings that if the amount of work and dedication goes into it, guess what? It is winnable. I want to give a big thank you to Gayla Kunis in Evans, Georgia, who has just given us good a good contribution. We cannot do it without you. Thank you so kindly, Gayla. Appreciate your support. All right, let's go to Betty, our beautiful Betty. How are you doing this morning?
I'm no stranger. I'm going to stick with the money drive wave that Thank You Politics done right and 90.1 for being the good streak in me, not the bad. Since 2016, the morning show and evening show got me to keep me on my feet and steady, not a yellow belly. I do say something, and people do, yeah. And I do say something. People listen to me, such as you can get more from honey instead of vinegar. Listen to your mother's heart. Don't turn your head to Trump. It's now or never. And I also say about tomorrow, don't buy tomorrow. Let's begin at the beginning. Let them see us. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Love you, girl. You know, what she just said is so important. You get a bit more with honey than vinegar. And to my MAGA and right wing listeners, I don't want you as an enemy. I want to have good disagreements with you, but I also want you to listen to what I have to say and listen and look out for not only yourself, but look out for the collective, all of us at once. I want you to also to not fall for the promotion of hate that many are putting out there. And I don't want to give progressives a break on the hate part either. I mean, I'm not trying to create false equivalencies, but I've told you my Netroots stories and what I've gone through at Netroots, the most progressive organization on the planet. So let's get humane with each other. Welcome aboard to Shiva Las Vegas. And of course, we have Joe from LA in our chat right now. Come on in, Augie, one of our Augie is one of our premier supporters here at KPFT. So thank you for all that you do for KPFT, Augie. What's up?
Well, good morning. I'm glad to hear Elise on the radio. She did a really good job Saturday with Ricky Izquierda. If somebody can hang with Ricky, man. And also, like you said, it's important, this election in Florida that's coming up in Virginia. And I was surprised when the RFK was talking about downgraded the crisis we're having with measles. And I know somebody was just diagnosed with the flu already. So, yeah, we're going to have to be careful taking care of our health. And earlier this week, I was calling people that had pledged before but hadn't in a while. And I've done it before several times, but never have so many of them said they're unemployed right now. Either they lost their job or they had medical problems and they're having trouble getting medical care because of what's going on. And people need to be aware. And as far as for the press, a lot of it is owned by one of these oligarchs. They used to be called robber barons early 1900s, and they're back. And the media, none of them complained when the AP was kicked out because they refused to go along with the Gulf of America. None of the other press people there went. And Stephen Colbert called it out last night about the media that we got right now. And when they interview a Republican and they fact check him, the Republicans complain, "Oh, I didn't know you were going to fact check me. You know what that means? You tell the truth. I didn't know you were going to call me out on my lies." And they say that on the air, but people don't catch up on that.
Augie, I want to break you there because you said something that I don't want to lose a trend here. So hold your thought a second. I want to say this to qualify what you just said. Bezos, the billionaire who now owns the Washington Post, yesterday in an article in the New York Times, I want you to hear the title, Augie. Bezos orders Washington Post opinion section to embrace personal liberties and free markets. David Shipley, the Post opinion editor, is resigning after trying to persuade Bezos to reconsider the direction. In other words, Bezos is telling the Washington Post to start indoctrinating people into the absoluteness of free markets and false sense of personal liberties. What you just said, you just nailed it. Even the oligarchs, the billionaires now controlling our media, they are telling the reporters. That's why I say you can't blame the reporters all the time, and you can't blame our MAGA brothers and sisters all the time, because this stuff is being paid for and led by the oligarchs, and not all of us have the ability to do free thinking. Sorry to interrupt you, Augie. I just wanted to get that in.
That's okay. But thank you and Elise for what you all do.
Thank you, my brother Augie. We wouldn't be here without contributors, supporters in many different ways than you are. Thank you, Augie.
And let me say before you go to the next call, let me just say that I'm a donor, I'm a contributor, and everything Egberto tells you, we prep for the show 20 minutes before each Thursday, and everything Egberto tells you on the air is the message when we talk, and the deference to the callers and the fact checking and the work and the preparation. It's all the real deal. So this show is very worthy of support, and it is an alternative source. Of course, alternative source, increasingly just accurate source of news. So please do contribute. I'm a contributor. Egberto's a contributor. And we do that even as donating volunteer time here. So please help us keep going, and Egberto keep going for his five mornings a week.
We couldn't do it without all of you. The truth is that we're going to go about 10 minutes over today. But I want to read something within this article, because, folks, this is how important keeping the voices at KPFT and other independent media, KPFT, Daily Kos, Op-Ed News, Common Dreams. These are all alternative information sources that don't have the dependency on the corporate media. These are sources that their only responsibility is to you, the audience, and telling you the truth. That's it. So, folks, here it is from the article. Jeff Bezos, the owner of the Washington Post, announced a major shift in the newspaper opinion section on Wednesday, saying it would now advocate personal liberties. Brian, I'm coming to you in a minute. Personal liberties and free markets, and not publish opposing viewpoints on those topics. Mr. Bezos said the section's editor, David Wish, was leaving the paper in response to the change. I am of America and for America, and proud to be so, Mr. Bezos said. Our country did not get here by being typical, and a big part of America's success has been freedom in economic realm and everywhere freedom. Freedom is ethical, it minimizes coercion and practical. It drives creativity, invention, and prosperity. I agree with everything that he just said that, but he is lying, because he has removed the freedom of his reporters, because in his accumulation of capital, he has denied others capital. In his support for what he supports within the tax frame, he has denied others the opportunity for growth that he received from the $300,000 loan he got from his wealthy parent. So he doesn't believe in free markets. He believes in oligarchic markets. He doesn't believe in personal freedoms. He believes in oligarchic freedom, not your freedom. If he believed in your freedom, he would support the policies that make you healthy, that makes you competitive. So all that word bubbly goo that he gives there is false. It's true in the wordiology, it's false in its intent. Brian, you're on.
Yes. Good
Okay,
morning. Thanks for everybody.
Brian, I'm sorry. I got to do a station ID. This is KPFT Houston. Go ahead, brother Brian.
Okay. Thanks everyone that has donated to the program. And this is a local problem. Lena Hidalgo had the charges dropped after she tried to embezzle $11 million for the COVID vaccine to a person that only had a post office address. I think that's kind of rotten. We should have seen right or wrong on that. Whatever the outcome, we should have had a court meeting. And also, I sent you an email. First three were XIN. Did you get it?
When did you send it, Brian?
Last night.
Okay, I haven't read my morning emails yet because I'm preparing the show last night and now, so I'll get to it. But I think I got your last email and I think I responded to you.
No response.
No, I recently sent you a response, sir.
Okay,
go ahead.
Well, I'll wait for it. This is nationwide. What happened to the 320,000 undocumented children, minor children, unaccompanied? What happened to them?
I don't know. First of all, I didn't know it was 320,000. What happened as far as you heard?
They can't find them. They're missing.
Oh, okay.
They're
okay.
gone.
That's a serious
totally
issue,
gone.
isn't it? That's a serious issue, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Majorca.
All right.
We don't know where they're at.
All right, let me research that. I don't have any info on that, but thank you so kindly, Brian. I got to go to Stacy, and we're running out of time. But I'll look for your.
I just want to point out the
Go ahead.
Nina charges were dropped by Ken Paxton. That the charges regarding that were dropped by none other than Ken Paxton himself.
All right, thank you for that. You heard that, Brian. I hope. But we'll talk tomorrow, Brian. Thank you so kindly for calling, and thank you for being a contributor, Brian. Let's go to Stacy. Come on in, Stacy.
Good morning, first-time caller. I just wanted to say I really appreciate you all. So, and I appreciate, I think it was Neil saying, if I'm remembering names correctly, about practicing solidarity, which I thought was a good reminder for those of us who are feeling apathetic for tomorrow's economic pause. And I also wanted to say I really appreciate, y'all's voice, the local radio, but particularly because with this administration and this climate, NPR, who, typically public radio, fairly independent voice, I've been somewhat disappointed in the reporting. And partially, I kind of want to, if others are feeling the same way, it's because they're being investigated by the FCC under this administration. So, like you said, it's not always the reporter's fault, but it is something that I have been noticing, this more leaning right sort of reporting, and it has been somewhat disappointing. So to find your show on my new commute to work every day, because I'm a federal employee having to return to office, I have an hour and a half commute both ways, so 3 hours total. So yes.
Let me ask you a question. First of all, thank you for the kudos, Stacy. But my question is, how do you feel about your current job with the federal government? Do you feel any pressure right now? And did you sign the letter? Or rather, did you reply to the letter?
The five bullet points, or there's been multiples. Every day it's something new to make our lives very difficult and our jobs very difficult. The fork in the road for people who took the offer, or the VERA, the early retirement option, their last day is tomorrow. And so we are losing some really wonderful people. And I understand everyone's situations is different, so there's no judgment there, especially the early retirement option. I get it. If I had that opportunity, I would probably take it as well. But it's difficult. It's been hard every day. And the unfortunate thing is they're trying to demoralize us, and it's working. They're stopping purchase cards. So while we're returning to office, we're no longer allowed to make purchases to better our office environment. So that means chairs, desks, things like that. So it is every little day they are trying.
Well, I want you to know
And
something, Stacey. You
love
have
this.
our support. Whatever that
Yeah.
is, you have our support. I'd like you to keep checking in because we want to make sure that we have all of your folks' backs because you're not going to be standing alone. We are in this not to just appease, but we're in this to make change. So thank you so kindly for your call. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
what you're doing for us as a government employee. I revere teachers, I revere our government employees because you make this society function. Thank you so kindly, sister.
Thank you. Yes, we're trying. We
Thank
care.
you.
We're trying for you all, for the American people.
You, absolutely.
I know it.
We know that. We know that. Those of us here know that. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
All right. All right. Let's go to Elise before we start closing this baby down.
Hey, thanks. What a great call. Was that the first time we'd heard from Stacy?
Yes, it is. First time we heard from Stacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. Listen, Stacy, thank you for listening on your commute in. She just told us she's a government employee, and she broke down a little bit about what's happening behind the scenes, some things that we have heard a little bit about, but hearing it straight from someone who's being so personally affected by the changes that we're seeing right now, that's pretty powerful. And she drew the distinction between what she's been hearing on National Public Radio and other sources versus what she's able to get on KPFT, especially with this show, Politics Done Right. It is something to think about. It is, if you're hearing a difference as well, I think, what I've been hearing is almost a muzzling of opinions, of talk, because there is that fear right now, because there really is a real threat against free speech radio, against public broadcasting. It is real. It exists. And at KPFT, we've felt this for years. And I think a lot of the other entities out there are just now, maybe for the first time, starting to feel what we have always felt, which is this could go away at any moment. And we need this now more than ever. 713-526-5738. That's the number to call to become a member of KPFT, to make your contribution tax-free. We are a 501c3 entity. That means that you can take whatever you give to us and you can use that to write off on your taxes. That's important to know. We are not beholden to anyone. There's no corporate advertising. We don't break down each and every quarter hour to give you a commercial set. We're about making sure that we are free and accessible, and that's a mission that KPFT has been a part of for 55 years. Please do what you can to keep free speech radio on the air and available for everyone right now. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Thank you, Egberto. Thank you, guys. Howard, Jack, Neil, all the callers today. Just a fabulous show, as always. And you'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thanks, Egberto.
Thank you so kindly. Let's pass it to the studio.
Nothing much here. Jack, you got something?
Yeah, Gene Hackman dies at 95 today, and
Love him.
International Polar Bear Day. Their species has declined by 50%, so they are endangered.
Let's feed him a politician.
Yeah. Oh God, I am out. I am out of that. That was a good one. Anyway, folks, thank you for that, guys. Look, I want folks. I encourage you to go to HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Neil keeps us informed locally and nationally as well. Very important site. I'm going to ask Neil to close her out before I give my finishing thoughts.
Great. Thanks for the plug. Don't forget your local bodies. Authoritarianism will require a local infrastructure, and ask your local elected officials where they stand on these national issues.
Thank you so kindly. Oh, but you got to tell your website again, brother.
HoustonDemocracyProject.com. There's a blog, and I update that blog 5 times a week or so. HoustonDemocracyProject.com.
All right, folks. The rest of the show, we have quite a bit more that we didn't cover, is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. But I'd like to put one quick plug one more time. Please call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Be sure to tell them we're at the end of the show that it is for Politics Done Right, whether they ask you or not. And likewise, go to kpft.org, click that donate button. Select Politics Done Right. Now that we're leaving the show, to make sure it comes to in the name of the show, select Politics Done Right and give whatever you can. Can you do $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month? We would be so grateful for whatever it is you can do. But please keep free speech on air. Notice what we're doing here, folks. We got to keep our democracy. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
We now join Democracy Now! In Progress here on KPFT Houston.
By the government officials. This sentence is there now.
The oil giant BP has announced it's cutting planned investments in clean energy and redirecting that spending towards fossil fuels to the tune of $10 billion per year. The climate group 350.org said the news, quote, clearly demonstrates why super rich corporations and individuals chasing short-term profit for themselves and shareholders cannot be